Janavallabha Givarahari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Givarahari Vishnu Vishnu Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Givarahari Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Prabhupada Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sarjatam Sarvamanam Sarvadikam Sajivam Sarvaitam Sarvutam Vijayasam Vishnu Chaitanya Shri Radha Krishna Radha Sarjapur Shri Vishnu Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshakarini Ramacharvapadobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Gadayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratise Namo He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namaste Bhaktakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaurabharinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Connectivity.
So very happy to come to this wonderful Sarjapur center. This is the best of all centers that is there in Whitefield. So nicely done place. So today we are going to discuss as part of this Navratna Bhakti series. So we are going to discuss on the topic of Smaranam, and so we are going to have in fourfold or fivefold. So first is what is its place in overall scheme of bhakti, and after that what is remembrance, what is its importance, and the process of remembering the Lord, and also glories of this particular activity. So first of all, what is its importance in the whole scheme of the practice of devotional service? So practice of devotional service is nothing but, we are part and parcel of the Lord, and we are meant to be rendering service to the Supreme Lord. We are meant to develop attraction towards the Supreme Lord. So that's the whole idea of practice of devotional service. And how do we go about doing that? So the simple process is, when we interact with the Lord, we develop attachment towards Him, just like any other process which is there. So if you ask a person who is very much addicted to some bad things, how did he get addicted to it? So he got associated with them, and over a period of time he develops addiction towards them. Right? So that's the same principle even in devotional service. We start associating with the Supreme Lord, and we develop attachment towards Him. One time, like one of our devotees with nice Kirtaniya, he was playing Kathak, and his hand used to go like up and down like this, and it would come and exactly meet the Kathak, and then it would go like, and it used to have so much of ornamentations and things like that and all. So one devotee approached him and he asked, Prabhu, how can I play Kathak like you? So then he told, see, Kathak is an instrument which is used in the service of the Lord. It is expansion of Balaram. You spend time with Him, you develop relationship with Him. So if you develop relationship with Him, then you will be able to play. Right? So it is all about spending time. Right? So now Krishna consciousness is also all about spending time with Krishna. So now how do I spend time with Krishna? How do I access Krishna? So there is this, then comes the process of devotional service. So there are elaborate items of devotional service that are there. So what is the total number of devotional service that is listed down by the acharyas? How many devotional services there? 9. Okay, that is a series that is going on. But in Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami gives 64 items of devotional service. Right? So devotional service means those items. Like approaching a spiritual master, taking shelter of him, taking instructions from him, following the instructions. These things, starting with these, like there are many different items are there. So one can perform these 64 items of devotional service, and then like amongst them, the most important is considered to be the nine chief angas of bhakti, which Prahlad Maharaj like puts it down in response to Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu asks, what is the best of the things that you have learned in the school? So like that's the mistake that he did. So no, not even in the school, from your spiritual masters, or from your masters, from your teachers. So he puts it like that. So if you would have specifically asked in the Gurukul, what did your teachers taught? Like then he would have told, he's an obedient boy. Like whatever is asked, to the point he will answer. Right? So even in the school, like the teachers would ask, like they would teach some things, and they would ask a very pertinent question. What did we teach? Please repeat. And Prahlad used to repeat. Though he would not like those things. So it all, dealing with politics and like how to identify who's our favorable people, who's not favorable people, and how to favor your, loved ones, and how to like subjugate the ones, who are not listening to you and things like that. So various different political things were taught, and Prahlad did not like at all these things, because Prahlad was a devotee, and for a devotee there is nothing called friends and enemies. He looks upon everybody as part and parcel of Krishna, everybody as an object of service, because Krishna likes them. So in this way, like Prahlad was not at all interested in that. But then if the teachers would ask, what did we teach you? He would nicely repeat. And the teachers thought, like, this is a nice, this one, like, we will take Prahlad and show it to his father, and he will be so happy that Prahlad is so very expert in all the education. And so they presented in front of the father, and father asked the wrong question. So father asked, what is the best of all things that you have learned? So what is the first answer that Prahlad got? First answer that told us that first time when father asked, so Prahlad tells that. So what is that? Nasadu manye. So he says that, see, an ideal person should take vanaprastha, particularly like designed for his father. He is telling, you have already done sufficient sense gratification. Enough is enough. So now you retire and you go to forest and perform bhajan. And Hiranyakashipu laughs it off, saying that maybe the child's somebody has spoiled the head of this child. So and he tells the teachers, like, please protect this child from the Vaishnavas, who will be doing book distribution everywhere, and ensure that this boy doesn't get a book and read any Prabhupada's book and things like that. So then, so the next time they train him nicely, and then they were confused completely. Like, we are asking, he is telling nicely, and in front of his father he is just telling something else only, right? So and then they trained him nicely. And then he was nicely answering. And second time when he was presented, so father asked again the same wrong question. What is the best of all things that you have learned from your teachers? So teachers means it's generalized. Like Narad Muni, he has learned some wonderful things. And Prahlad is very, very innocent and like very casually he just mentions. And this is the best of the things. What is that? Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dashyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumchapita Vishnu Bhaktischem Navalakshanam Kriyade Bhagavad Gita Dhanmanyedi Kamuttamam. So he mentions that this is the best of the things that I know of. What is the best of the things? This 9 items of bhakti, Shravanam to complete surrender. So these 9 items of bhakti, when a person offers it for the pleasure of Vishnu, and Iti Pumsarthika Vishnu Bhaktischem Navalakshanam. So these 9 things, when he offers it for the pleasure of Vishnu, and in that way it pleases the Supreme Lord Vishnu. That's the best of all things that I know of. So that is how he mentions this love with the bhakti. And then the acharyas are very merciful, so they have also pointed out what is even most important if you want to reduce the list of items of bhakti, and come to like most important items of bhakti. So then they list down 5 angas of bhakti, panchanga bhakti. You know? So what is the panchanga bhakti? What all things could be there in panchanga bhakti? Huh? Okay. Chanting. No. Prasadam is a byproduct of another anga of bhakti. When will you get prasadam? Offering, DT worship must be there. That is when you get prasadam. So DT worship. So this is very easy to remember. Now we'll sing this off. Like it is a shloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So like you can remember this. Like once we sing it, so then it is very rhythmic. So it is very easy to remember. Just like this Navada Bhakti, if you memorize the shloka, it is so easy. So anytime Shravanam Kirtanam it starts, like immediately the whole list comes to memory. In the same way, this also we can remember. Sadhu Sangana Kirtan Bhagavata Shravana Sadhu Sangana Kirtan Bhagavata Shravana associating with devotees and performing of Nama Kirtan and Bhagavad Shravan, hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then Mathura Vas, staying in the holy place like Mathura, Vrindavan, Mayapur or Jagannath Puri, or making the place, making our own home, or coming again and again to the Bhakti Center. So this is the way of Mathura Vas. So what is the whole purpose of Mathura Vas? Why do we have to stay in Mathura Vas? What makes it so special to stay in the Dham? Okay, nice. Purification, definitely anywhere you chant, purification happens. So and also when we equate Mathura Vas to staying in association of devotees and things like that. So why Mathura Vas is so important? Because everything that's happening over there is for the purpose of service of the Lord. For nothing other, no other purpose. So if in the home or if in a community of devotees we are staying together, and in the community we are doing only those activities which are going to please the Supreme Lord. So then that is also called as a little less dosage Mathura Vas. But high dosage Mathura Vas is obviously like the Mathura Vas itself. And even more high dosage of Mathura Vas is staying amongst missionaries who are burning with desire for preaching the message of Krishna consciousness. So that is considered to be really a strong dosage of Mathura Vas. Why is it so? Because more than association of the Lord himself, the association of devotees of the Lord is glorified a lot. Why? Because, so even in the prohibitions, when it is mentioned that we should avoid the association of materialistic things, so which is like which will inspire us to do material things, like overeating, over collecting, and things like that and all. So, but then more dangerous than associating with material things is, what is more dangerous? Associating with materialistic people. Why? Because a materialistic thing may be there, you may not be attracted to it. But if you associate with a materialistic person, he will give you attraction to that material thing. So he will pass on that attraction to you. So that is how, even like associating with the Lord is not that great. No, more greater than that is associating with devotees of the Lord, because they can give the attraction to the Supreme Lord. So many people are going to Tirupati, so many people are going to so many different temples, but they don't seem to become devotees. But then somebody who comes in contact with a devotee, he turns into a devotee. So why? Because he can pass on the attachment to Krishna. So like Krishna himself, he has a neutral position. He says that whoever comes and surrenders in whatever way, I reciprocate to them in that way. And then he also mentions that the role of the Supreme Lord is also mentioned as Eko Bhuvna Vyudadati Nama. So he is one who takes note of all our desires and fulfills our desires. He is not the one who is going to change our desires. If we have to change our desires, so then we have to come in contact with devotees of the Lord. So they will change the desires of a person. Right? So here, so Matravas and Srimurti Shraddha is saying, so with lot of faith and devotion, one must perform deity worship. These five are considered to be like very, very powerful. And then even if you shorten the list still more, so then it comes to two important angas of bhakti. What is that? What could be two important angas? Shravanam and Kirtanam. That's considered to be the very, very important this one. So like devotees who are dedicated for performing the devotional service, so they generally perform, this is either Bhavanga Bhakti or Navavida Bhakti or Panchanga Bhakti or two angas of Bhakti or Ekanga Bhakti. Ekanga Bhakti is just chanting the names of the Lord. So that also includes Shravanam. So but generally they call it as Ekanga Bhakti. So there are many times like sadhus, they take this vow of doing Ekanga Bhakti. Ekanga Bhakti means what? Like they go to some holy place and then they simply keep chanting, and and they are very nicely elevated in that this one. So it seems like one devotee, he wanted to be like that. So and he went to one of the sadhus who are doing this continuous chanting of the names of the Lord. And then he told sadhu, I want to be like you. I want to practice intense practice of Krishna consciousness. So they told, okay, no problem, sit next to me and start chanting. So then he started chanting. So then he asked, oh sadhu, I'm feeling hungry. So I want to eat. So then the sadhu told, see, now you have come for this intense practice of Krishna consciousness. You just simply chant. And when the sun comes to the middle, in the noon. So we'll go for little bit of time, we'll go for begging. And whatever comes by the mercy of the Lord, we will take. And this devotee thought, okay, I have to wait for so long. So then he sat down, and then so this devotee told that, then when the time came, so they went for begging and they started eating. And then they offered it to the Lord, whatever Viksha they got. And then it was so spicy food. And he told, oh sadhu, this food is so spicy. And then he told, hey, whatever comes, it is mercy of the Lord, simply eat. Then he ate. And then, so then after 2 days or 3 days, he told, looks like I'm getting some little bit of, difficulty in the health, so I think I have to meet a doctor. So then the sadhu told, hey, what are you speaking like, you have come for exhibition of this Ekanga Bhakti, and don't speak all these things, just simply chant, by the mercy of the Lord, if you get cured, it's okay, otherwise you die. So keep chanting and die. So then this devotee thought like, this is too much. And he came back to the temple and started practicing normal devotional practice. So like, sometimes these, like what is that, intense practice of Krishna consciousness, which some point in time we have to come to, like, don't get scared about. That time we will like it so much, just like how materialistic people, without even having food, they can keep on drinking, and only by drinking they can maintain their life. So in the same way, like, very exalted devotees, only by chanting they can maintain their life. They don't need anything extra, external. So they don't need anything external, right? So in that way, like, so that is Ekanga Bhakti. So we don't need to do that. So we have Bhagavanga Bhakti. So we have needy worship also. We have nice offerings also, and we can honor prasadam also, and we have nice devotee association and so many nice festivals and nice wonderful ways of performing. So this we have 64 angas of bhakti, and in that prominently we perform this Navagana Bhakti, and most prominently, Srila Prabhupada has given us a system to perform the Panchanga Bhakti, right? So Panchanga Bhakti is like, deity worship we do, we associate with devotees, we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, we chant the names of the Lord, all these things like this, and we try to reside, in a place which is surcharged with devotional service. So all these things is the package, when we do this thing, like throughout the day, so then we become surcharged with devotional service, then we get the association of Krishna. And that too, so this is all angas of bhakti. And how do we associate with this angas of bhakti so that I can get the association of Krishna? So it has 2-3 different important aspects, which is nicely put down in the process of Sharanagati. Like, in essence, if you see, like if you associate with one anga of bhakti, say for example holy name, so if you associate with the holy name, so you should avoid certain things. What are the things that you need to avoid? 10 offenses to the holy name you need to avoid. So it's like when you avoid the offenses, and then when you access the Lord in that particular form, so the Lord becomes manifest, and more the Lord becomes manifest, we become purified. Initially the purification happens, later on we develop attraction towards it. That's how the process actually goes. Right? So initially Shannatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hidayantastovi Abhadrani, Vidunoti Surutsatam. So first time when we engage in devotional service, so in the initial phases we become purified, and later on we develop attachment. Later on the same entity which was helping us to purify our senses, now it is helping us to develop attachment towards that same entity. So that's how the process of devotional service progresses, and for that very important thing is that we have to avoid offenses in the practice, and avoid the offenses, and also as quickly as possible we have to come out of anarthas. So the wrong misconceptions, the wrong ideas about who's the Lord, who am I, what is the devotional service, what is my goal, and what is the process to attain the goal. So there needs to be clarity about all these subject matters, and after all these things, another one important aspect that is there, so that is when we approach these angas of bhakti, either the holy name or the deity, so we should not approach casually, or we should not approach saying that, okay, now I know the tool, like this is the means and I will just execute and I will get the benefit. No, it's not like that. This is also very nicely clarified in one nice shloka. Atashri Krishna Namadi, Na Bhavet Grahyam Indriya, Sevam Nikehi Jivado Swayameva Spratana. So this Sri Krishna Nama Rupa Guna Lila, which is mentioned as Namadi. So these things, like I cannot access them directly. It is not, I don't have the capacity to access them. So but then what will I do? I will just simply engage in the service, and then I will wait for the Lord to reveal himself. If I chant the names of the Lord, it doesn't mean that I have mastered the process. If I can read and understand the concepts of Bhagavad Gita, it doesn't mean that I've got mastery over Bhagavad Gita. So I read as a seva, and when the Lord is pleased by the seva, he reveals himself. When he reveals himself, that's when I get the proper understanding of the book. And when the Lord reveals himself in the chanting, that's when I get proper understanding of the chanting. So that's when I get the association of Krishna. And when I get association of Krishna, so then my purification, my progress and everything actually happens, right? So this is very important. So like first is we have to like engage ourselves or indulge ourselves in the angas of bhakti, and we should avoid offenses. Like if we do deity worship, then there are set of offenses, you know, in relation to deity worship. So we need to avoid those offenses, right? So and then perform the angas of bhakti, avoid the offenses. Then what is the third thing that I mentioned? We should have prayers, no? Like prayers. Basically, like we cannot just forcibly access the Lord. We have to pray to the Lord. No, I want to access you. I want to have an association of you through this holy name or through the deity form or through the process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So, but I don't have the capacity to access you. Please, you reveal yourself unto me. Right? So this is very essential. And when the Lord reveals Himself, so we need to have the gratitude. No, I'm not at all qualified to have this association of yours, but still you are so merciful. No, you have revealed yourself unto me. So just like a very simple revelation of the Lord is that when we chant the names of the Lord, so and we are able to hear all the syllables very clearly. So that's one form of revelation of the Lord. You know, that's a very amazing form of revelation of the Lord. And so in one of the purports of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada writes that when the Lord reveals Himself, so Lord is such a person, He is so attractive. You know, sometimes some objects are very attractive to the eyes. Maybe eyes becomes pacified with that. But that object cannot pacify my nose. That object cannot pacify my tongue. That object cannot pacify my skin. But Krishna is so amazing a personality. He gratifies all the senses completely. His name is called Govinda. So when we serve the Lord and when He manifests Himself, so that means like, it's going to be like really, really, very amazing experience, of having an experience of the Lord. So it's like somebody maybe from the foreign country he has come, and then he is sitting down with all of us for honoring prasadam, and then you ask him that have you had gulab jamun? Probably I might have had. You want one more? I don't know, if he does like that, that means he has not had gulab jamun. If he has it, he will ask for one more, right? So in this way, we see that, if we have an experience of the Lord, we will really mad after Him, because He's such an amazing personality. Krishna, the name Krishna itself means that He's all attractive. So when we are able to hear the names of the Lord clearly, and we are able to appreciate the Smaranam, process of Smaranam and Kirtanam, the chanting, so we will simply be elated. We will simply be floored, so by the experience of chanting. So because the Lord, even though it is just the sound vibration that is coming in, the Lord can satisfy the tongue, Lord can satisfy the eyes, Lord can satisfy the skin, Lord can satisfy all the senses. In fact, one of the glorification of the holy name, it says Sarvendriyanam Pratim. It just, the holy name just becomes the master of all the, it just becomes the king of all the senses and just sits on top of everything. Right? So that's the amazing nature of the Supreme Lord. And so today we have one of the amazing angas of bhakti that we are going to see. That is the anga of Smaranam, the remembrance of the Lord. So this is one powerful anga. So so now we see that one clarification. I just want to offer. So Smaranam as devotional service is different from Smaranam of Krishna in other forms. So there are many different forms of Smaranams there. So now, for example, what is the definition of a Karma Yogi? Varnacharama Acharamatam Purushena Parapuman Vishnu Aradhite So even in Karma Yoga, what is expected, so he has to execute the Varna and Ashrama duties, for the purpose of pleasure of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. He should execute these things for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Even there, Smaranam is there. And then we have the Jnana Yoga. So even there, the Smaranam of the Lord is there. Even Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is all about Smaranam, remembrance of the Lord. So that is not considered to be bhakti. What is considered to be bhakti? It has certain other important elements. So the definition of bhakti goes to say, what is the definition of bhakti? Anukulena Krishna Vashilanam. First line. Anya Vilashika Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyena Krishna Anushilana. No? So there's many important aspects that are there. So like any of the angas of bhakti it matches, this formula matches. Anya Vilashika Shunyam. So all other desires, we should not have any other desires. So apart from what? Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So bhakti only for the satisfaction. In the last it comes what is the positive thing. The first it is mentioned what is the negative thing. Negative thing is we should not have any other desire. So what is apart from what? That is mentioned later on. And Jnana Karma specifically it should be uncovered or it should not be covered by the Jnana and Karma. So the problem of Jnana is desire of liberation and problem of Karma is desire of material sense gratification. So it should not be covered by these two things. And then Anukulyena, it should be performed for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord and Krishna Anushilana. It should be like performed following the footsteps of previous great devotees, right? So in this connection, one devotee was telling a nice instance. He was telling that so when Krishna was fighting with Chandur and Mushrik, in Mathura, when he went to meet Kamsa, like wrestlers, they are very powerful wrestlers. Krishna was gratified nicely when he had nice fight. So like he was gratified with a very nice fight. And then when Mother Yashoda, like she was feeding Krishna, and suddenly like in the stove milk was overflowing, and she put down Krishna and went to switch off the stove, and Krishna visibly became angry. So now which is devotional service? Chandur and Mushrik was doing devotional service, and Mother Yashoda was doing devotional service. Chandur and Mushrik pleased Krishna, and Mother Yashoda displeased Krishna. Now you tell, which is devotional service? Huh? What is it? And why nobody is giving the answer now? Huh? Mother Yashoda. So this goes to say pleasing Krishna is not at all necessary. It's not necessary. It's not like not necessary. It's not that important. No. Sometimes Krishna may not be pleased by devotional service. It's okay. So, but the favorable attitude to please Krishna should be there. So then somebody may say like, I take tea or coffee for the pleasure of Krishna. And Krishna may not be pleased. It's okay. So, but no, Anushilana, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, following in the footsteps of established devotees who are, like they are actually giving pleasure to Krishna. But in the external sense, Krishna may be displeased. Krishna wants the love and affection of a mother. And how will he enjoy being a son if the mother doesn't chastise Krishna? So like it's part and parcel of his enjoyment actually. So but externally, if you just see that pastime alone, you may not understand, this is for the pleasure of Krishna. And if you just take a snapshot of Krishna fighting with Chandur and Mushrik, you will think that these people are pleasing Krishna, okay, maybe this is the way to please Krishna. So we have to oppose him and we have to fight with him. And that is devotional service. So then that is not right thing. So Chandur and Mushrik did not have the favorable attitude for pleasing Krishna. That was not there. And definitely they were not following in the previous acharyas and things like that, or established devotees of the Lord. So devotional service should be accompanied by these all aspects. It should be freed from like desire for sense gratification, it should be freed from desire for liberation, and it should be executed for favorably for the satisfaction of the Lord. Whether the Lord gets satisfied or not, that's a different thing. But executed for the satisfaction of the Lord. Mother Yashoda, when she went to put off the stove, she thought that this milk I'm boiling for Krishna, and if it goes down, so then what's the point? The whole thing is waste. So I should preserve the milk for Krishna. So she had a favorable attitude. But Krishna was not pleased with that. So it's okay. It's not a problem. So and then Krishna was ultimately pleased with Yashoda. So but in that instance, he seemed like he was not pleased with Yashoda. So but then also we should follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. So all these things put together makes the anga of bhakti likely. It actually produces result. If any of these things are missing, so then we may execute chanting, we may execute hearing, we may execute the remembrance of Krishna. It doesn't make any sense. So it will not produce the desirable result. So to this effect, there is a shloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I suppose, which says that Bahu Janma Kari Yadi Shravana Kirtan Prabhuda Payane Shri Krishna Charan. So even if you execute the chanting of the names of the Lord for many, many lifetimes, still you will not attain the lotus feet of Krishna. So if you execute it along with offenses, or if you execute it in the wrong way, right? So angas of bhakti is important, and along with that we should also understand the way in which we approach the angas of bhakti, right? So now we will see the remembrance. Now we will go into the Smaranam aspect. So we are going to study this subject from various purports of Srila Prabhupada. So now we have one nice purport from this 7, 5, 23 and 24, where this Navadvita Bhakti is explained, where Prahlad Maharaj is explaining this. So Srila Prabhupada writes a nice commentary over there. He says, according to different relationships and mellows, there are 5 kinds of remembering. So these are as follows. First is conducting research into the worship of a particular form of the Lord, concentrating mind on one subject and withdrawing the mind's activities of thinking, feeling and willing from all other subjects, and concentrating upon a particular form of the Lord, this is called meditation, and concentrating one's mind continuously on the form of the Lord, this is called Dhruvanusmriti, or perfect meditation, and awakening a liking for concentrating upon a particular form, this is called Samadhi, right? So mental concentration upon particular pastimes of the Lord in a particular circumstance is also called remembrance. Therefore, Samadhi trance can be possible in 5 different ways in terms of one's relationship. Specifically, the trance of devotees on the stage of neutrality is called mental concentration. So this is like different levels of concentration that is mentioned. So one is like how to perform worship to a particular form of the Lord, and then actually performing worship to a particular form of the Lord, and remembering that particular form of the Lord, and constantly remembering that particular form of the Lord, and developing a liking towards that particular form of the Lord. So one of the forms of the Lord that we freely distribute to everybody, what is that? Harinam. Yeah, holy name. So that's a very powerful form of the Lord. And in fact, it is mentioned, Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. So the form of the holy name, the Lord actually appears in the Kali Yuga, and we are expected to develop nice attachment towards this particular form. So initially, we try to understand how do we chant and things like that, and then we try to sit down and chant, and we try to have good rest before the chanting, and so we try to follow all the avoiding offenses and things like that, and also all those procedures we do, and then we start developing remembrance of the holy name. Initially little bit, maybe 16 rounds. We also tell that first is we encourage devotees to come to 1 round, to 4 rounds, to 8 rounds, 12 rounds, 16 rounds. Then again we start with 1 round. What is that? 1 round with hearing. With proper hearing, 1 round at least. Amongst the 16 rounds, at least do 1 round of proper hearing. And then after that we increase it to 4 rounds and 8 rounds and things like that. So that's like second process. So that's how it is mentioned here as well. First we start worshipping the Lord, and then we worship the Lord with focus, and we worship the Lord with more focus, and then we develop liking towards that form of the Lord, like that. So this is possible even in the form of chanting and also in the form of deity worship. So these 2 things are very powerful angas of bhakti. So we should try to do these things, right? And then, so next is we see the importance of this process of remembrance. So there is a nice shloka from Padma Puran which is cited in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22:113. So it says, Smartavya Satatam Vishnu, Vismartavyam Najatuche, Sarve Vidhi Nishedashru Etayoreva Kinkara. So it is mentioned that Sarve Vidhi Nisheda. So Vidhi and Nisheda. So this is the body of, if you take the entire body of Vedic literatures, what does it consist? It consists Vidhi and Nisheda, rules and regulations, do's and don'ts. And so here it is mentioned, Sarve Vidhi Nisheda, Etayoreva Kinkara. So one rule is the primary rule, and all other rules and regulations become servant of this one primary rule. What is that one primary rule? So that is the first 2 lines. Smartavya Satatam Vishnu, Vismartavyam Najatuche. What is that? Always remember the Supreme Lord and never forget Him. So that is the original do's and don'ts. Always remember it is the do, and don't is never forget it. That's the original do's and don'ts. And for executing that, we have elaborated it with so many do's and don'ts. Okay, like now if we sleep, so then after we get up, we should take a bath, because sleep is in the mode of ignorance and that's contaminating, right? So like, so that is, why do we do this one? So why these do's and don'ts are given? For the purpose of remembering Krishna, right? So and when we, there are many rules and regulations are there, like if we shave or if we cut our nails, if we cut our hairs, we should take bath. These are all elements of cleanliness that are there. So why do we do all these things? For the purpose of remembrance of Krishna, right? So like this, many different rules and regulations that are there. So and before we eat anything, so first we should offer it as a naivedya or offering to the Supreme Lord, and then we should accept it as prasad. So why should we do that? For the purpose of remembrance of Krishna, right? So this is the key, this one. So our scriptures are very nice. So they explain things in very concise way, and they explain the core subject, what is the most important subject, and how do we execute that core subject? By elaboration. So elaboration and summarization. So both the things are very nicely done, right? So and in this purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that there are many regulative principles in the Shastra and directions given by the spiritual master. These regulative principles act as servants of this basic principle. That is, one should always remember Krishna and never forget him, right? So this is the basic, this one that is there. And then, in Nectar of Instruction, so we have the first shloka of Nectar of Instruction. So what is the first shloka of Nectar of Instruction? Vacha veham, manasa krodha veham, jibha veham, udara prastha veham, etan vehanyo vishahe tadira, sarvam apima prithivim sasishya. So it talks about control of senses, various different senses. Vacha veham, control of the speech, and then manasa and krodha veham, so control of mind and control of anger. So what is the way to control the mind? To remember Krishna, to remember the Supreme Lord. So that's the way to control the mind. So in that, Srila Prabhupada cites from the commentary of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So this Nectar of Instruction, the small booklet, that's a very powerful booklet. So it has 11 very important and powerful shlokas. And in that, Srila Prabhupada gives his commentary, and he also adds the commentary of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada's spiritual master. So that's called Anuvrutti commentary. So Srila Prabhupada cites from there, in relation to this. So he says that in Anuvrutti explanation of Upadeshamrita, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes that our material identification creates three kinds of urges. That is, urge to speak, urgent demands of the mind, and demand of the body. When a living entity falls victim of these three types of urges, his life becomes inauspicious. So that means, what are the three urges? Mind, urge of mind, right? Urge to speak, No. So again, I will read that. Like urge to speak, urge and demands of the mind, and demands of the body. Right? So the three things, like, so the shloka has many different elements. Speech, mind, anger, belly, genitals, and things like that. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is dividing it into three. So speech, mind, and body. Three things. Why this is considered divided in this way? If you see, if a sannyasi, when a sannyasi takes vow of sannyas, what is he expected to do? He is supposed to use these three things in the service of the Lord. Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. You have heard this verse. Like Kaya means the body, Vacha means the speech, and Manasa is the mind, right? So Krishna, it's a little difficult. To engage the mind in service of Krishna is very difficult. And our mind will go everywhere. And to engage the mind in service of Krishna is very difficult. Right? And in that connection, so like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur actually makes these three divisions. When a living entity falls victim of these three types of urges, that means allowing the body to do anything and everything, allowing the tongue to speak anything and everything, and allowing the mind to think anything and everything. So then the life becomes inauspicious. One who practices restraining the demands of urges is called a tapasvi. Who is a tapasvi? It's not that Himalaya mein jaake baith gaya. That is not just the tapasvi. So tapasvi means who controls these three things. The body, mind, and the speech. So now, okay, so one who practices restraining is called tapasvi, or one who practices austerities. By such tapasya, one can overcome victimization of material energy, the external potency of the Supreme Personality of God. As far as agitation of the flickering mind, they are divided into two divisions. First is called avirodha priti, unrestricted attachment, and another is called virodha yukta krodha, anger arising from frustration. So adherence to the philosophy of Mayavadis, belief in the fruitive results of Karmavadis, and belief in the plans of materialistic desires are called avirodha priti. And jnanis, karmis, and materialistic plan makers generally attract the attention of the conditioned souls. But when the materialists cannot fulfill their plans and when their devices are frustrated, they become angry. Frustration of material desires produces anger. So, like, these two things are considered to be the urges of the mind. So, how does the mind becomes flickering? So, mind, when we develop attachment to things which are not conducive for us, things which are not spiritual. So, that is one of the problems of the mind. And then when we develop attachment to something material, it naturally produces anger. Why it produces anger? Desires are not fulfilled. Yeah. So the living entity is, the nature of the living entity is anandamaya abhyasa. So the living entity is looking always for happiness and satisfaction. And this satisfaction can completely achieve only in association of the Supreme Lord. So any other material plans, how much ever attractive it may be, like a plan which says that in 1 week, how to become crorepati in 1 week. No, the plan will be very nice, and we may become a crorepati also. But still after that we will achieve frustration. No, we will not be satisfied because the soul is looking for something even more. So even this is not going to give satisfaction. Now it is mentioned that what is that? So only when a living entity, only when a living entity engages in the devotional service of the Lord, that thing satisfies the soul so much. Nothing else can satisfy the soul to that extent. And the living entity is always looking for that particular thing. So now these two things, like the flickering mind, is because of undue attachment to things that are material, things that are not in line with Krishna consciousness. Right? So this is one of the things that is so in this way, the remembrance of the Lord must be there. Otherwise, generally, a living entity is attacked by these kind of undue attachment to material things and things like that, and then the remembrance of the Lord is curbed. So one has to restrain the mind from engagement in all other subjects. And then in the nectar of instruction in sloka number 8, again Srila Prabhupada writes, since the mind may be one's enemy or one's friend, one has to train the mind to become a friend. The mind on its own, it can sometimes act as a friend and sometimes act as an enemy. So that the whole purpose is to train. And in fact, Prabhupada writes, the Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for training the mind to be always engaged in Krishna's business. The mind contains hundreds and thousands of impressions. And not only this life, but many lives of past. It's a repository of all impressions. So many different impressions. And these impressions sometimes come in contact with one another and produce contradictory pictures. In this way, the mind's function can become dangerous for a conditioned soul. Students of psychology are aware of mind's various psychological changes. And it is mentioned, Yam Yam Api Smaranam, Tejatante Kalivaram, Tantam Eveka Tantriya, Sadaka Bhavavavita. So, whatever state of mind we remember at the point of death, so we will attain that state of, that kind of a body. So that's how the transmigration also happens. So the main purpose of Krishna consciousness movement is to train the mind to be engaged in Krishna's business. That's what Srila Prabhupada writes. How do we train the mind? How does the mind work? In one of the Gita course sessions, you may have seen this PPT. How does the mind work? Thinking, feeling, willing. It's okay. It's to some extent it's okay. likes and dislikes. Mind works on likes and dislikes. What does the mind actually remember? So whatever things you like and whatever things you dislike. These are the two things that the mind likes. Mind actually surfaces. You have a hard disk. You have fetch logic in the hard disk. So how do you fetch? You put a particular address and then it picks up the data from there and brings it to you. So here the mind has a different fetch logic. Whatever you want, it will not fetch. Whatever you liked in the past, all those things it will fetch now. Now you sit for chanting and so many different things come to your mind. So this person scolded me yesterday. You disliked it and it comes to the mind, right? And then something you ate nicely or something, something which gratified your senses nicely, all those things comes to your mind, right? So like if you carefully analyze, the mind actually brings in those kind of subjects into the wisdom. So now controlling the mind means what? Giving a nice experience of Krishna consciousness, like constantly keep on giving nice experience of Krishna consciousness. Over a period of time, all the things that the mind is fetching is only the experiences of Krishna consciousness, right? So that's the way of training the mind, So it requires quite a consistent effort for a long period of time and not, not putting any wrong samples into it, So in between, like I enjoy Krishna consciousness and I enjoy some sense gratification also. And the mind will have, and the fetch logic also will work accordingly, So the mind will, sometimes it will be favorable to Krishna consciousness and sometimes it will pop up some obnoxious things as well, right? So it should be trained in a particular way, So like constant engagement in Krishna consciousness and nice experience of Krishna consciousness, that must be given. So when that kind of an input is given, so then it also produces nice output of remembrance of the Lord, right? And then we have another nice shloka. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita 8.5, Antakale cha mam eva smaran mukta kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasti tatra samshaya. So, and whoever at the end of life puts his body remembering me alone, at once attains my nature, of which there is no doubt. That's why remembrance, Smaranam is a very, very important aspect. And in that shloka, Srila Prabhupada writes, if one wants to achieve success at the end of his life, the process of remembering Krishna is very essential. Right? So this, it's very, very essential to remember Krishna. And then, so Yam Yam Vapi Smaranam already we discussed. Whatever state of mind we remember, that state we will attain. Right? And then Krishna tells in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's mentioned by I think Sutta Goswami or Shukadeva Goswami. So Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari Shotavya Kirtitavyascha Smartavyas Chechatam Layam. So here Shukadeva Goswami is mentioning, O descendant of King Bharata, so that is Parikshit Maharaj, one who desires to be free from all miseries, so one who has a desire to get freedom from all the miseries of life, what he is supposed to do? He must hear about, glorify and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is super soul, who is the controller and the savior of all miseries, savior from all miseries. Right? So this is, the remembrance is very, very essential for getting liberation from all the miseries of material life. And then there is another shloka from second canto itself, which says, Etavan Sankhya Yoga Nam Swadharma Parinishthitya Janma Labha Parapumsan Ante Narayana Smriti. This is a very amazing, famous line, Ante Narayana Smriti. So ultimate goal of life is to remember the Lord at the point of death, right? So the translation goes like this: the highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, or by the practice of mystic yoga, or by discharge of occupational duty. That means either you execute karma yoga, jnana yoga, whatever yoga you want to execute. But what is the ultimate perfection of human life is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. Now that's the perfection of any of the yoga systems. So it's like saying, ultimate perfection of any of the medical, this one, you take allopathy, homeopathy, or Ayurveda, or naturopathy, or what else is there? Siddha, Unani, whatever you want. Finally, I have to become cured, right? So if I don't become cured, my disease doesn't get cured. So what's the point? So in the same way, the ultimate perfection of all the yoga systems is what? Is Ante Narayana Smriti. That is like very nicely mentioned. And in that shloka, Srila Prabhupada writes a nice commentary. He says, by the speculation of empiric philosophy, which discerns matter from spirit, by cultivation of mystic powers, that's the Ashtanga Yoga, which ultimately helps the performer to reach any planet of the universe or beyond the universe, or by discharge of religious duties, that is Karma Yoga. So one can achieve the highest perfection provided one is able to reach the stage of Narayana Smriti, or constant remembrance of the personality of God. So it's like, the process of like devotional service or the Vedic process is not like, which yoga is like best and this, that and all. It's about ultimate goal, which is going to help you to attain the ultimate goal. So the ultimate goal is constant remembrance of the Lord. Of course, Krishna himself says, like, what is the 6th chapter? What's there? He says, Yoginam api sarvesham madhyate antaratma shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktamo. So like, of all the yogis, the best of all yogis is Bhakti Yogi. That's the opinion of Krishna. So but then when Acharya gives a commentary, he says that, so you see, like, the ultimate this one is remembrance of Krishna, and if you can attain in any yoga system, it is okay. But you can attain it only in Bhakti Yoga. Please practice Bhakti Yoga. We are not fanatics about Bhakti Yoga, but then you will get the benefit only by this. That's why we are requesting you. Right? So that is how it is put. And everyone is anxious to achieve the highest perfection of his particular activity, and it is indicated herein that such perfection is Narayana Smriti, for which everyone must endeavor his best. In other words, life should be molded in such a manner that one is able to progressively remember the personality of Godhead in every step of life. So if we are making advancement in Krishna consciousness, our remembrance of the Lord should increase. Our meditation on the holy name should increase. Our hearing of the holy name, our absorption in the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, this must increase gradually and progressively. Then we are safe. We are doing the things rightly. Otherwise, we should stop. We should ponder. We should ask questions. What's going wrong? Something is going wrong. Progressive remembrance of the Lord should increase. So that's when we are actually performing bhakti properly. And then, so now we come to the process of remembering the Lord. So, like in the same set of shlokas that we discussed. So now I had picked up certain important snippets from the purports of these shlokas, which is pertaining to the importance of remembrance of the Lord. So now, in the very same set of shlokas that we discussed, we will call out certain other portions of the purports, which is going to discuss about the process of remembrance of the Lord. How we can train the mind to remember the Lord. That's going to be discussed more. So now the process. The first shloka that we discussed was Kartavyam Smaranam Vishnu, Vishmartavyam Prajapati. So in that, like always remember Krishna and never forget, in that Srila Prabhupada writes, this is possible, that means remembrance of the Lord is possible when one chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Therefore, one must strictly chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra 24 hours daily. So one may have other duties to perform under the direction of the spiritual master, but he must first abide by the spiritual master's order to chant a certain number of rounds. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we have recommended that the neophyte chant at least 16 rounds. It's like Prabhupada, neophyte devotees can chant at least 16 rounds. That's the beginner. So like below that is like pre-beginner. So beginners chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna. So this chanting of 16 rounds is absolutely necessary if one wants to remember Krishna and not forget him. Of all regulative principles, the spiritual master's order to chant at least 16 rounds is the most essential. Right? So Srila Prabhupada makes a very, very profound statement. One may sell books or enlist life members or render some other service, but these duties are not ordinary duties. These duties serve as an impetus for remembering Krishna. That means whatever the duties given by the spiritual master, duties given by the Srila Prabhupada, so like distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books and preaching the message of Krishna consciousness, and like here Prabhupada is telling enlisting life members and things like that. So these are all not ordinary duties. They are given by the spiritual master, and they have the potency, when we engage in those services, they have the potency to give us remembrance of Krishna. So now we may come and like spread the mats here, or clean in the bhakti center, clean the pots, or cook for the Lord, do these various services. So when we do it with the proper attitude and with proper revelation, so then it serves as an impetus to remember Krishna, right? So then in this way he is remembering Krishna. So when one goes on to enlist a life member, he talks about Krishna and thereby he remembers him. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu, vismartavyam najapuja. The conclusion is that one must act in such a way that he will always remember Krishna, and one must refrain from doing things that make him forget Krishna. These two principles form the basic background of Krishna consciousness. Right? So always remember Krishna and never forget him. So that's the basic principle. So then next, in the shloka that we had, Prahlad Maharaj, where he lists down his 9 angas of bhakti. So there, the Smaranam anga is also mentioned. So there also some process is mentioned. So it is mentioned that Smaranam, after one regularly performs the process of hearing and chanting, and after the core of one's heart is cleansed, Smaranam, remembering is recommended. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami tells King Parikshit, Etavan etan nirvidyamananam ichchakam apatobhayam yoginam navaranditam hare namanu kirtanam. O King, for great yogis who have completely renounced all material connections, for those who desire all material enjoyment, and for those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord is recommended. So again, it is getting re-emphasized. In the first purport also we saw in the lecture of instruction, Srila Prabhupada was mentioning, if we chant and hear, so then it results in remembrance. And here also, it is again re-emphasized that until unless we first chant and hear nicely, and our core of the heart is cleansed, remembrance is not possible. No, we should not even attempt to perform this anga of bhakti. So because if we just simply sit and try to remember, what will come? The fetch logic will work. It will just fetch some random things from some random place. So that is why this Shravanam and Kirtanam is very important. Chant the names of the Lord and hear. Or hear from the Vani of Srila Prabhupada, or hear from the books of Srila Prabhupada. Right? So in that way, the hearing process must be executed. And then in Lecture of Instruction, Shloka 1 that we discussed, so there also nice things that Srila Prabhupada actually mentions. He says that the restlessness or fickleness of the mind, Manovega, is controlled when one can fix the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 31 says, Krishna Surya Samo Maya Ayandaka Yahan Krishna Tahanai Maya Radhika. Krishna is just like sun and Maya is just like darkness. If the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Similarly, if Krishna is present in the mind, there is no possibility of minds being agitated by Maya's influence. The yogic process of negating all material thoughts will not help. To try to create a vacuum in the mind is artificial. The vacuum will not remain. However, if one always thinks of Krishna and how to serve Krishna best, one's mind will naturally be controlled. So, along with the process of Shravanam and Kirtanam, one very important anga of bhakti, or one very important aspect of practice of Smaranam is recommended here. What is that? Remembering the lotus feet of the Lord. That's a very nice thing. And in fact, when Amrish Maharaj, the glorification of Amrish Maharaj comes, so how he executes devotional service is nicely enumerated. It is mentioned, Savai Mana Krishna Padaravandeyo, Vacham Shivaikunta Gunana Varmane, Haro Hare Mandira Majana Vishu, Shutim Chakara, Chukasat Katore, Mukunda Lindalaya, Darshane Drisho, Tadnutega, Prasparsham Prasantam. Like that, many different things are mentioned. First and foremost thing that is mentioned over there is Savai Mana Krishna Padaravandeyo. So engaging the mind and thinking about the lotus feet of the Lord. This is a very nice thing. Devotees can practice this, at your home. If you have PPs or if you have photos. So you can offer nice tulsi leaves, to the lotus feet of Krishna. Offer nice flowers to the lotus feet of Krishna. And then observe how nice and wonderfully beautiful the lotus feet of Krishna is. And it is, if you see, there is 3 things that are there, 3 major categories of philosophy or major categories of knowledge that is there in the scriptures. So that is called Sambandha Jnana, Abhidaya and Prayojana. So 3 different things are there. And Sambandha means what? Why does the mind think about so many various things? Because it thinks that I have a relationship with this thing. I can enjoy this world by nicely eating, or I can enjoy this world nicely by sleeping, or I can gratify my senses in different ways and I can enjoy it. And if somebody obstructs this gratification, then I get anger and then I remember those things. So this is the thing the mind actually remembers. But then when the Sambandha Jnana arises, so So it becomes clear that I am part and parcel of Krishna. I am meant to render service to Krishna. So that becomes very clear. So then the remembrance of Krishna also becomes very clear. And there is nice pranam mantra of Madan Mohan Dev DT is there, who is Samanta Vigraha, by whose mercy we can actually get the Samanta Gyan. And anybody knows the pranam mantra of Madan Mohan Dev? Jayatam Surato Bhango, Mama Mandamate Gati, Mat Sarvasva Padam Bojo, Dada Madan Mohan, right? So this is there. So it is like Jayatam Surato Bhango, Mama Mandamate Gati. Like my mind is Mandamati, like mind is so dull, it is not able to put focus on Krishna. So like Radha Madan Mohan, so their lotus feet is worshipped, and in the Madan Mohan deity, like lotus feet is the most prominent this one. Govinda Dev is the Abhidaya deity, giving the process of Krishna consciousness, and the like Vakshasthala is the prominent feature of the Govinda Dev deity, and then Radha Gopinath is the Prayojana deity, like who is the ultimate goal, and Gopinath's beautiful face is considered to be the most important aspect of that particular deity. So Madan Mohan, who is the deliverer of the conditioned mind, and there also it is like we can see the lotus feet is glorified. So remembrance of the lotus feet of the Lord is a very important anga, which can actually help us to vacate the mind of all the unnecessary thoughts, and it can actually bring about sanctification of the mind. So that's why this process of serving the lotus feet of the deity is very, very nice. So we can the neophytes are advised to focus upon the lotus feet of the deity actually. So we may take darshan of the Lord, but then we spend most of the time meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. So that's very powerful, very, very powerful. That's one of the reasons I keep my DP, lotus feet of the Lord. So I want to, whenever I want, like sometimes when I lie down to sleep, sometimes the mind is so crazy, like I'm dealing with certain management issues, and the mind goes and thinks about all those things, plan making and things like that. And I want to sleep, I want to shut down the system. And how will I shut down the system? The system is running like crazy. The mind is running very crazy. So then I make this process. I just take the DP picture which I have in my WhatsApp. So I just take that, and then I focus on the feet of the Lord. And then applying all the other angas which I mentioned in the beginning, that my mind is going reeling like anything. It's going really very crazy. I want to bring it into control, and I want to sleep. That's when I'll get up tomorrow morning and attend Mangalarti properly. So otherwise, like I cannot get up in the morning 3:30. It is not possible. So then I pray to the Lord that please control your mind. It's basically like mind is Bhumi Rapo Analavayo Kamano Bundire. Mind is one of the aspects of the material energy. So it is not my mind, it is your mind. So please control your mind, it is going really crazy. Right? So, and I am trying to focus upon your lotus feet. And I know that it is not possible for me to access your lotus feet. So I am praying to you, please reveal yourself unto me, in the form of your lotus feet. And please pacify my mind, and please give me a wonderful remembrance of you, so that I can have a nice sleep, and sleep as a devotional service, right? So that's when I get rejuvenated and I can do the devotional service next day. So in that way, this is very powerful. The meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering tulsi leaves to the lotus feet of the Lord, offering nice flowers to the lotus feet of the Lord, and then observing how nice the wonderful markings in the lotus feet of the Lord, right? So this is very, very powerful, powerful way of controlling the mind, right? So, and then it's 12:30. What time is it supposed to start? Okay. I have a lot more things to say, but then I'll summarize the rest of the things. So, okay. So I have, this is one beauty of Krishna consciousness. We can elaborate and we can summarize as well. So I will just summarize the key points of the further things that we are supposed to learn in these purports. So the effective remembrance comes from hearing and chanting, and then the constant chanting of the names of the Lord Nama and Kirtanam is recommended, and maintenance of attitude of humility and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra 16 rounds minimum. It's considered to be like very, very basic process for remembrance of the Lord. And also by association of devotees, we remember Krishna, right? So just that, like one of, when I was very new to Krishna consciousness, so I used to work in Electronicity and stay in Koramangala. And there was only one temple in Bangalore at the time, was in Sarjapur, right? So like I used to, in the weekends, I used to go to the temple. So but then in between, my cousin sister's house was there. So I used to go to her house, and then there nice TV will be going on, and nice, she will give me nice food and things like that. And I used to contemplate, probably like today I'll just spend time with my cousin sister. And then some devotee in the temple will call, Prabhuji, you are coming? Yeah, I'm just coming. I was just down the way, things like that. And so in association of devotees, even if we want to forget Krishna, somehow they will remind us of Krishna, right? So, and then the glories of this one, glories of remembrance of the Lord, as in fact that I mentioned in the beginning itself. So one who at all remembers even once properly the names of the Lord or form of the Lord, if he has that experience, it becomes really, really very attractive. So very attractive that a devotee cannot think of doing or think of enjoying anything else in his life, right? So in this connection, there is a nice shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, my dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of the Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo the material existence like others, like food workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember the ecstasy again and again. So this is the benefit of having positive remembrance of the Lord. So with this, I pause today's discussion. So any questions or comments we can take for 5-10 minutes. Yes, please.
Prabhuji, you told me that we should avoid offenses like chanting or doing divinity worship. But what we make offenses unintentional, though the heart is pure?
So initially speaking, our bhava is impure. Like real bhava comes like Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Anartha Nirvati, then Nishtha, Ashakti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Ashakti. Then comes bhava. So that time we can be spontaneous, no problem. But before that, we have to be guided by rules and regulations. So that's why it is called sadhana bhakti, where we have to be meticulous about rules and regulations. And once the mind becomes our friend, once we actually come to the stage of bhava, so then we can be natural and spontaneous.
But at the initial stage, if we are making offenses unintentional.
That is why the initial stage of bhakti itself is called as nam aparad. It's devotional service executed with aparad. It's already taken. It will be with aparad. And it produces very unintentional offenses. And we are trying our best to execute the devotional service properly. That will offer a little bit of advancement. And but we cannot execute that kind of devotional service for a long time. So that will not give us the desired happiness and bliss in the heart. So we should become educated. So now we are getting educated about this process. It's a very nice, this one, Vishnu has nicely organized this topic. This Navruddha Bhakti, it's a very important thing to learn. This is our core subject. And about offenses also, we should have seminars about offenses also. We have an elaborate seminar on Harinam Chintamani, maybe sometime we can have. So Harinam Chintamani is nothing but the 10 offenses in detail. Now what is this offense? How do we go about doing this offense? And how do we, if we understand that we are doing that particular offense, how do we come out of it? And all those things are detailedly given. So we take advantage of those education and then we avoid those offenses and then we come to the nice practice of Krishna consciousness. So that's very, very essential. The education in the process of Krishna consciousness is very essential. Without that, we will not know. See, right now, our understanding is whatever I see is in the material. I see in the material perspective, and that will naturally result in offenses. So only if I see on the spiritual platform, I can be free from offenses. But my vision is not like that. So then I am bound to commit offenses. So then, how can I avoid offenses? only by following the rules and regulations given by the liberator acharyas. So they know what it means to be working on the spiritual plane, and just by following those rules and regulations, we will also be on the spiritual plane. And keep acting on the spiritual plane, one day we will naturally come on the spiritual plane. Right? So that's the process. So here the education is very necessary. So that's how we need to do it. Yes.
You mentioned that one shloka, right? Purvajanma yadika Shravanam. So actually this is parallel to the same question. So Shravanam Kirtan should purify us, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, we should stop doing offenses also.
Yes, Shravanam Kirtanam without committing offenses. That's why in the point of initiation, what does the spiritual master says, like, or what vow that you are supposed to take? I will chant minimum 16 rounds, I will follow 4 regulative principles, avoid 10 offenses, right? So it's not just simply chanting. Chanting simply cannot produce the result. Chanting is all powerful, but the 4 regulative principles deals with like association with the material things. So we have to cut our material association. So by following the 4 regulative principles, and we have to avoid the 10 offenses, because if these 2 things are there, overindulgence in matter and committing of offenses, bhakti is so very powerful. But these 2 things has the power to detonate the power of bhakti. So like a bomb is there, if you detonate, it will not blast. So the same way, like bhakti is very powerful. But if you, like side by side, if you engage in the material things, and side by side you commit offenses, the power of bhakti is not there. So then you may perform the angas of bhakti over and over and over, but it will not produce the desired result. Yes.
Only like you put that the material things our sambandha is already established. Like that, the sambandha with the Lord Krishna is to develop the sambandha with the Lord Krishna. Is there any activity more like because with the activity only we develop the sambandha?
That's the activity, like in engaging in the angas of bhakti, that is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, all these things, without committing offenses, with an attitude of prayer and gratitude. So when we perform these things, so then the sambandha gets established. The Lord reveals Himself. When the Lord reveals, the sambandha becomes very strong.
And that creates the memories, like that creates the memorization of the Lord.
So the preliminary process is Shravanam and Kirtanam. That's the preliminary process. So it's like in one place it is nicely we were studying this Kunti Maharani's prayers in the first canto, 8th chapter. So there in one place the Prabhupada writes, we have heard this, like any one of the angas of bhakti you can become expert in, like, so but in that purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, you may go on to become perfect in any one of the angas, like maybe the anga of Pada Sevanam or Smaranam or whatever it is. But for all the things, the preliminary need is, first a person should do Shravanam and Kirtanam. Just like in the engineering, if you join, like first year everybody studies the same syllabus, after that the specialization starts. In the same way, like whatever you may become in the future, but first the neophytes are expected to do Shravanam and Kirtanam. In fact, in the letter of instruction, that shloka number 8, the beginning stages of devotion service is termed itself as Shravana Dasha. The Dasha itself is called as Shravana Dasha. It has to be focused on Shravanam. So that's the key thing. Like chanting, Shravanam. Attending Mangalarati, Shravanam. Like doing Guru Puja, Shravanam. Doing Bhagavatam class, Shravanam. So everywhere the Shravanam is given the key importance. So when a person becomes solid in Shravanam, so then Smaranam comes, then other aspects. Then one may specialize in one of the angas of bhakti. But initial is everybody, for everybody it is same thing. Shravanam and Kirtan. So that's the basic foundation of, like, that's the entry point of devotion service for everybody.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanapana. So in one of the sentences you mentioned like Samban, Gyan, Prayojan, Abhinay. So we have Govindev in the process and Gopinath as the base. So I would not connect it. What is the link?
So these 3 subjects are there, Sambandha, Abhinay and Prayojana. Sambandha means who am I, who is the Lord, what is my connection with Him, and things like that. So to understand about these things. And Prayojana, like that is Sambandha means where am I, to understand my state. And then Prayojana is what is the goal, goal is to attain Krishna plane, or goal is to go back to the spiritual world. That is called prayojana. And abhidaya is the process. Now, what if I execute, I will get that goal. No, that's called abhidaya. And each of these processes have a deity, who is facilitating this process. The Sambandha Gyan is facilitated by Radha Madan Mohan, and in that deity, the lotus feet is to be consecrated. The worship of lotus feet of Madan Mohan Dev can award us the Sambandha Gyan. And parallelly, like studying the scriptures, which gives Sambandha Gyan, and worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. So that's the beginning process, of devotional service. And then we need to do the process of devotional service, that is Abhidaya. Abhidaya is like we should chant 16 rounds, we should do deity worship, we should offer bhoga to the Lord, we should accept only prasadam, and all these things are Abhidaya, right? And when we do this, we should also worship the Govinda Dev deity. And Govinda Dev deity, the most important aspect of Govinda Dev deity is the Vakshasthala. So that inspires a devotee to practice the process of Krishna consciousness. So that's the connection between Abhidaya and Govinda Dev. And then Prayojana is the beautiful lotus face of the Lord. So where, anybody remembers the Gram Mantra of Abhidaya deity? Okay, so quickly check. No, anybody can check. In our Mangalacharan prayers it is there, no? So that Jayadam Saradam Nango, Navamanam Mudhyavati, Matsarvastu Padam Bojo Radha Madanam Nango, Divya Vrindaranya Kalpatumada, Srimad Ratnamaya Simhasanasto, Srimad Radha Govinda Devo, Deshali Vihisya Yamana Smarami, and then Sriman Dasarasarangi, Vamshi Bhatta Takastita, Karshan Venu, Swanar Gopir, Gopinatha Shriyasuna. So this is this one, that person who is the leader of the rasa dance, he's actually playing this wonderful, flute, and then he's attracting the gopis, towards him. So this is the meditation of Gopinath deity, and this lotus face is very important in this. So this is the Prayojana Vigraha, this is the connection between these three things. And we have acharyas also, like Sambandha Acharya is Sanatan Goswami, and Abhidaya Acharya is Rupa Goswami, who gives all this wonderful wisdom. And I think the Prayojana Acharya is Raghunath Das Goswami, if I'm not wrong. So these, there are different acharyas, different deities, and different scriptures which facilitates that, and the devotee is supposed to navigate through this Sambandha Abhidaya and Prayojana.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. I just want to know that how we figure out our offenses that so that we should avoid those offenses. How what all offenses we should not do according to your.
Okay. So how do we figure out we are committing offenses? So one point we discussed today, that the progressive remembrance of the Lord should increase. Progressively we should remember the Lord more and more. If that is not happening, then only reason is two reasons. One is overindulgence in material things or committing of offenses. These are the two reasons. Because bhakti is so powerful, it can infuse us with Krishna's remembrance. So if this, my progressive remembrance is not happening, so that means there is some offenses that is there. So which is, Bhaktivinoda Thakur very nicely puts it, the second stanza of Sikshashtakam. He says that Durdaiva Vihajaninan Raga. So this particular line that comes, he says that this holy name is so wonderful, and each and every, and Lord has so many innumerable holy names, and in each and every one of them, Lord has invested all his potencies, and in spite of that, I am not developing attraction towards it. But this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually says in the second stanza of Sikshashtakam, and in that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains what is this that is preventing us from developing attraction to the all-attractive personality. What is that preventing? It is offenses. And this is the sign that offenses are there. It's keep on practicing Krishna consciousness, and I'm not developing attraction towards the Supreme Lord. So then the offenses are there. And how do I avoid that? So how do I know there are a list of offenses? There are 10 offenses to the holy name that is there. So sometime we will do that seminar of this one, 5-session seminar is there on this one, Harinam Chintamani. So and then there is deity worship seminar also, like Karthikeya who has mastered that subject, so he can do sometime the deity worship seminar. So that also have this 56 different offenses to the deities in the process of worshipping the deity. So if we study those things and avoid them, the devotional service itself is very powerful. Just if we avoid the offenses and perform devotion, we can just go full on, very, very powerfully we can progress. Somebody knows like we are not closing this session.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I really like the point where you mentioned in the memory, if an address has to be accessed, then we go and then pick it up. So my question is, you said mind works based on the likes and dislikes. Now, coming to the question, in the devotional service, we are supposed to like the things which we usually don't like another way. We have to start disliking the things which the mind have been liking so far. So how do we grow that journey?
Yeah, so this initial process is thoroughly based on rules and regulations. So Vidhi Purvaka Bhakti, that is called Mayadi Bhakti. So, and initial time it's going to be a little bit of deprival of the sense gratification, and also like a little bit of, even though I don't like to chant 16 rounds in one go, sitting in this one and things like that, but still I should do it. And in this regard, like there is nice shloka in the Letter of Instruction, which Rupa Goswami says, Shah Krishna Nam Charita Disatapta Vidya Vittopatapta Rasanasya Ruchika. Ruchi, like why? Because it is like a jaundice afflicted person. His tongue is not accustomed to taking sweet. If he takes sweet, it looks to be bitter. So, but then the shloka says, Kim Padara Anudinam Karusaivajusta Swati Kama Bhavati Tattva. So even though we are not feeling taste in the process of execution of Krishna Bhakti, so we should diligently avoid the offenses and diligently engage in the process of Bhakti. And what happens? Swati Kama, Kramena, like dhire dhire the taste starts arising. And that hope, like when you start focusing on the names, even one round of Hare Krishna mantra you focus, or even half a round if you focus, or even to the beginners, even one mantra if you focus, the experience that we get is like really amazing, right? So, and that experience helps us to go further and further and further. So, till the time you say like,
Actually, I have had that if your feeling is pure, Krishna accepts everything. So this offenses are like we know about the karma mind. So this is a bit contradicting for me. I'm feeling I'm getting confused.
no, it's perfect. So it is, what you mentioned is perfect. If the bhava is pure, so then like what you will be
So
doing
we
is,
should not focus about the offenses.
so in the pure bhava, in the stage of pure bhava, you don't need to focus on the offenses.
Okay.
We are in the stage of Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana, Kriya, so we have to focus on the offenses. When we go to the level of bhava, so then we don't need to focus on the offenses. It becomes natural. Devotional service becomes natural. And what it means to be in the stage of bhava, that also is explained. Avyakta Kalatvam. Even one moment passed without the service of Krishna seems to be like hellish. And then like Namadana Sadaruchi, all the time, the mind thinks that, I should keep on chanting the names of the Lord. Pritistal Prasatistala, having so much intense attraction to stay in the Dham of the Lord. So if those things manifest, then it is called pure bhava. In that stage, we don't need to worry about offenses. If that is not there, then we should know that कभी मन लगता है आइसक्रीम खाने के लिए, कभी मन लगता है ये करने के लिए, वो करने के लिए, then we are not in pure bhava. So then we need to follow the offenses and rules and regulations and all those things. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.